Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
You know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast. No, actually, that's a tail in my face. Featuring bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop games. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Chris Renshaw, and we have a crowded room in here today, folks. So much I don't even have a layout for it. But first off, down below, that's my partner in crime, Mr. Philip Herbig.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna have a good night for you, and then we're gonna send it over back up to Chris to introduce our guests.
All right, we have with us today Marc and Martine Lavoie who are the designers of one of the newest games from Thunderworks Games, Questline. How are you doing today? We dropped Marc for a second, but there he is.
We're doing great.
Great, thank you.
You disappeared there.
Sorry.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So for those that may not have been paying attention to the pre-order on Thunderworks Games website, so you can get it right now, and I believe I put it in the show notes. If you're watching this, what is Questline?
Questline is a fast game for 1 to 6 players. You know, it's played in 15 minutes, and what you do in Questline is each player tries to create the most epic story for their hero, and by optimizing a hand of 7 cards. So you draw and discard in simultaneous play. You know, it's in real time. There are no turns, so you draw and discard to create the most epic storyline with optimizing your strategy, your synergies between the cards, and with avoiding plot holes. So I could describe it.
Awesome. And we will get more talking about that in a minute. But first, Philip, we got some news. All right. If one of those AI spammers fails at its job, would you say that it was botched? All right. This first story is from Wargamer. Kickstarter abandons its botched mature content policy, but adult board games and TTRPGs still aren't safe. So this was granted, the story's been updated about 12 days ago. We're still getting caught up on news here, but on Monday, crowdfunding platform Kickstarter announced that it was walking back the widely derided changes to its mature content policy that banned adult-only or sexually explicit projects from the platform. In an official statement, COO Sean Liao says, "We botched it, and the response from our community let us know loud and clear that we got it wrong." Let's see. Do they talk about? I was trying to see if they talked about when they actually had to about the policy to begin with. So the previous, they rolled back to its previous rules, which banned pornography and illegal content. They call the policy the bare bones and not as specific as we like it to be, but it does make it explicit that child sexual exploitation and abuse material is banned. So. And they now make it explicit that projects are also subject to our partners' rules and restrictions, and that even if Kickstarter permits a board game, a partner may be able to suspend it. So this has been like a big deal in a bunch of different areas, mainly because a lot of I think it has to do with a lot of the credit card companies like Stripe, like they mentioned here in this next article, are kind of putting the ban hammer on kind of adult content, and that's kind of been forcing other companies. Like I feel like I saw a story, non-gamer related, but like Patreon and OnlyFans, I think were having issues with that last year. I think. Anybody? But yeah, so they had originally come.
Those news stories.
Yeah.
Were there. Yep.
But they had originally come out with a policy. I want to say it was at the beginning of May that was like, we're making, you know, adult and let's see, what did they call it? Adult only or sexually explicit projects from the platform. And then, like you saw in the article, a lot of uproar of people talking about it because it's just kind of dumb that, you know, especially because also when you start putting in things like that, then you start getting into what are we considering adult content? Because it's like, okay, you got a woman with some titties out, but then also over there we've got a board game about mass murder. Like, like where are we drawing the line here on you know, adult content? So
it starts getting into a whole horrible slippery slope of then you start getting into there was an episode of MASH.
Oh no.
Okay, remember that show?
No, I don't remember because it stopped
was an
airing
episode of
after
MASH
I was
where-
born. But I have seen it, yes.
They wanted to get a movie to the camp
Yeah.
so that they could all watch it for a movie night, and it had one of the big movie stars, and it was very racy for the times, because the woman, it was like the lead actress, it was her first time in the big city, and she's like, oh, you know, I'm just here, I'm basically a virgin. That was it. That was the one word racy that everyone wanted to, like, no, you can't show this movie anywhere. Okay, and now we start getting into censorship issues and all that jazz. Like it's just a giant slippery slope.
Right. And then this is honestly the biggest issue here, because when you start talking about that, like adult content, people like to use that as a broad term for stuff I don't like. Where, like, for instance, a lot of times art and expression from LGBTQ people is often labeled, like it says in the article, as pornographic or obscene. So they're like, oh, there's two dudes kissing on this thing. That's adult material. Therefore, it needs to get banned. And that's not cool. So I just, supporting these things in the gaming space can mean making common cause with people who want to 3D print big elf titty elf sculptures or inflation fetish video games. That's only been my problem. Is sometimes I feel like, because like if you like, and I used to do the Kickstarter segment from the website where I would list like what's new this week, and I would go to like the view all, like view by newest instead of like the by promotion, and you just see everything. I'm like, man, there's so many just like fantasy nude women STL files that a lot of them fun. But I'm like, we need this to be like its own category almost. No, I'm not talking about that for adult content. I'm only talking about that for, like, I'm gonna innuendo here, the bust. The fantasy bus. All right, but let's move on. Then I came up with a new reality show where really wealthy and elite men would compete each other like battle royale style. I call it Survival. Man, with the delays, Philip. So from Belle of Lost Souls, MCDM releases free alpha playtest of survival horror RPG Crows. So Crows is an upcoming dungeon survival horror RPG from MCDM Studios, the makers of Draw Steel, which has gotten a lot of buzz recently as like another 5th edition alternative kind of thing. Check out the free playtest. Let's see. MCDM Studios released a public alpha playtest of its dungeon survival horror RPG Crows. What is a dungeon survival horror? Now's your chance to see for yourself. Looks like it's sounding a lot like a roguelite or maybe a roguelite to speak. I know those are really popular in the video game space right now. A big part of the gameplay involves going into a dark and horrible dungeon, finding treasure, and investing in your town to give you a better chance of getting deeper and deeper into the dungeon. I'd say that sounds about right for like a roguelike or light, whichever way. Also, that kind of sounds, as an RPG, that kind of sounds dope.
That does, yeah. I mean, we all hate TPKs
Yeah.
in RPGs. But a lot of your roguelikes and roguelites, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I have a game, I have Rogue Legacy and Rogue Legacy 2. The only way to get back to like spend all the stuff you just
Yeah.
is to die.
Also, I like this art.
So you have to fail, then you can go back to the beginning. It looks like it looks like a reinterpretation of the Deku Tree.
Oh, it does.
Legend of Zelda.
It does kind of look like that. I mean, normally I'm not a huge fan of like the very old school D&D style of artwork, but something about this is I'm liking it though. Looks like a fair warning. This is definitely unfinished. It hasn't been properly laid out or edited, but the rules are there, though more are still in development. I mean, that's kind of point of an alpha. At least enough to get a taste for the game proper. It's a very different vibe. Your character's meant to die, and you roll up another at random. Okay, that sounds actually like a lot of fun. If it's just like, we're just going to keep making characters, they're going to go until they go and then die. Because also, I feel like you could interpret that for like, we're going to bring in every character we've ever played in a different RPG. Like, oh, these stats look like they would work for Sarav, so then Sarav's going to go die, and then, you know, maybe these stats look like they'd be for, you know, one of my other D&D characters, and oh, look, here's Althorn the 37th. Oh, now he's dead, and here's Althorn the 38th.
Then we're going to end up with, you know, Spango Garnet Killer the 14th. Yeah.
Looks like
Exactly.
open feedback is open through the end of June, so give it a try and help shape the future of the game. Okay, this sounds really cool, actually. Dungeon Jam 2026. So I guess it's a part of a bigger thing. They don't even talk about that. Let's see what else they talk about here. Get rich or die trying in a harsh world of hideous monsters lurking in forgotten ruins. I don't know why. I'm just also getting vibes of that. Do you remember there was that like Abominable Pit National Park RPG where they like detailed out? It was like some wound. It looked like a wound. I can't remember what it was called. I remember it was like a national park RPG, but it was
Yes,
the art's giving me those kind of vibes. I don't know why, because it's definitely different, but it just
Mystery.
that
Flesh
was
Pit
it.
National
Mystery
Park.
Flesh Pit National Park. Yep. All right, and then before we finish up, there's a show note thing I missed. There, hold on. Here we go. I spent forever making an underground fortress for my RPG players to go through, but alas, it's finally dungeon. Roll20 rolls out a new non-AI instant dungeon generator. I'm just really glad to see like a news story that's like a good new tool that's not AI. Roll20 wants you to make more dungeons, and with a hot new update to Dungeon Scrawl, now you can make them fast in real time. So apparently Dungeon Scrawl is a real-time map-making editing tool set that is useful for all sorts of things. An instant random dungeon generator. But let's see, it doesn't use AI. It also is extremely easy to edit. because it exists completely within there. Use you all the tool sets of Dungeon Scrawl to customize your map on the fly. So this is kind of cool. I've seen other tools very similar to this, but this definitely looks like it's got a lot more customizable options. Like a lot of times, some of the other tools, it's like, yeah, you hit random dungeon, that's it. Like you can't really like change you can't change the map that much without either like importing it into something else and editing it, some other graphics. Get down, cat. Biting me. Or just restarting and redoing the generator. Let's see. If you need a dungeon in a hurry, you can just spin one up. They are procedurally generated rather than created via training data. So you don't have to worry about needing to spend tokens or having to pay for compute. Yeah. So yeah, Donjon's actually one of the websites that I've used before for random generation of stuff. So it's that same kind of principle. And apparently it's not exclusive to Roll20, so you can take the maps and export them over to whatever your preferred VTT is. I kind of like the way the maps look too. They're kind of cool. It's definitely got that like old school D&D map vibe. The art style for the map.
Yeah, the squares just remind me of graph paper from school.
Well, yeah, I mean that's because I feel like that's what fundamentally the maps are. Because you got to remember, like all the artwork was like hand drawn, so there's a pretty good chance all those old school D&Ds were just graph paper drawings, just maybe with like drafting tools instead of by hand. Because you got to look even like the little hashes, like those are just lines. All right. Last up, we got a couple of different D&D stuff. I was fighting through a dungeon and came across both vampires and werewolves. Luckily, I had my holy symbol made out of silver, which took care of both of them. I really hate these kinds of crossovers. So there's a couple of different stories in here. Yeah, it's always wondering like how are these going to take with people who's not American. Couple of different D&D stories. Basically, it looks like Hasbro's CEO can't shut up about D&D because like we got 3 articles from here that were all within like a week of each other. Of Hasbro CEOs insist that D&D video games are a focus in spite of cancellations. Hasbro CEO has big D&D crossover dreams, and Hasbro CEO thinks you should migrate your thinking to view D&D as a live service. So, just talking about the biggest thing to talk about is with the video games piece is that there was a game coming out. I think it was the people making Jedi Knight Fallen Order or whatever it was. They were contracted to make a D&D game. That's been canceled. And so literally like the day after they canceled it, they then said like, oh, D&Ds are a big focus, even though the fact we just canceled one. So let's see. Actually, we're going to skip those two because the big thing to talk about is this last story. Where you should migrate your thinking to view D&D as a live service. Because I know, especially even in our Discord, we had a couple of people talking about this one. So let's see. In a recent interview with Games Radar, Hasbro CEO Chris Cox spoke about how it just makes sense for players to consider D&D from a live service framework. This seems to line up with 2 new initiatives at WotC with a seasonal model of themed product releases, all coalescing around a single big moment. And then in the episode that we recorded yesterday that you should have, other people that aren't listening live will hear it later, D&D Beyond's new drops features will feature weekly drops of different items, both new rules that don't necessarily fit anywhere else, and digital cosmetics to upgrade your D&D Beyond account as long as you're subscribed. Of course, that all depends on players, quote, migrating their thinking, as Cox put it, to look at D&D as something you collect piecemeal without having to wait so long between releases. Though many feel Cox is missing the mark here, it's not that players want a steady stream of releases, it's just they want something that makes them excited to play D&D. So, question in here is like, what exactly does that mean? Let's see if I can get a better... Books will always be an important part of D&D, but it will always be kind of like a special totem that you can collect. I have a big bookshelf of D&D books myself, but we see what's happening. Almost everyone who plays D&D uses D&D Beyond. Like a super high percentage use it. A very high percentage use Foundry or Roll20. And so it just makes sense that you should start to migrate your thinking about the way you play to more of a live service where you don't have to wait 18 months for us to build a book. Also, I feel like in his own argument, he already told what the problem is with this concept. Is that, yes, super high percentage use D&D Beyond. But what happens if you're going from Group A, who does, to Group B, who uses Foundry? Like, you've already acknowledged not everybody uses it, but now you're going to be like, well, you got to pay to this, and then you got to pay over here to put it in there because you don't have So that is a problem. So instead, Cox asserts that I'm sorry, there's supposed to be an S there, but it's just Cox asserts that players could get components or aspects of release as they come out. We can start to release components or aspects of a book over time, so you don't have to buy everything all at once. You can buy chapters or segments of it over time. This is the part I actually like. Normally, I would just be crapping all over this, but some of this makes sense, I will say. So before Wizards of the Coast owned D&D Beyond, when it was like a semi-official, or it was official, but it was just operated by somebody else. Like, it's like the Thunderworks Games thing. It was like a contractor. They didn't work directly for Wizards of the Coast. That you could buy individual parts of the books. So like, how you when you log into D&D Beyond, you can only, like, if I want to make a rogue, you can only use the like free what's in the SRD version of a rogue, which is usually like one subclass. And so you could go on to D&D Beyond and be like, well, I don't care about all these other options. I don't want to spend $60 to unlock all the options. I really just want this subclass in rogue. And so you could spend like $2 and unlock only that for you so that you could use it in your stuff. Also in D&D Beyond, you can technically still add stuff in manually. Rusty Beetles, I talk about Roll20, you can add it. There's an option in D&D Beyond where you can add in homebrew stuff. But so I actually did like that because, like we played it wasn't the Spelljammer, it's one we did after Spelljammer. Oh, when we did Tomb of Annihilation, and I had a druid and I used a subclass out of Xanathar's Guide to Everything. But I didn't want to buy the entire book, so I just bought that druid subclass and could add it in, And especially when like people are penny pinching it is spending like $2 to $3 on just what I need instead of a $60 book for most of which I'm never going to use. I feel like so that part I kind of get. And this is like where we were talking about a little bit, where as long as they're still making the book, I'm kind of fine with this. Like if it's just like we're still making the book, we're just gonna chop the bits up, and like the comic book model was a great thing, like you were talking about the last time, Philip, where it's like if we're just taking this stuff and releasing it more frequently, and then at the very end for people that don't use the digital stuff, here's the full book. I'm fine with all this. So
yeah, here's the entire year worth of stuff in a book. It's just all 12 months.
Even if they don't even want to like theme it and just be like, this is the 2020 D&D 2024 or a D&D 2026 annual of like all the stuff we've done.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. Now, Rusted Beano Greg's point is like the ideas are sound, but the problem is the company behind it, and that's the big problem. Where it's that like nobody trust like yes, if this was Paizo or if this was Foundry even or somebody, like people would be like, okay, that's fair, but it's Hasbro and nobody trusts Hasbro to sell it reasonably to where
Mm.
so. Anyways, like I said, there's a couple of more articles in there if you want to look more about some of the stupid things that Hasbro CEO thinks about your D&D games. But with that, I think we're going to turn it over back to talking to Mark and Martine about Questline. So I'm actually really interested because when hearing you talk about it, I didn't realize, and just when I was reading the... Go away. Cat just keeps wanting to attack me. That this was an instantaneous game playing. Like, I know it says it on here, but some reason when I was reading the description on here, I was like, oh, is this like fantasy gin rummy? That was kind of like the first vibe I got off of it. But hearing that it's instantaneous changes that notion completely.
Yeah, exactly. It started as a turn by turn, but at two players, it was working well. But at some point, with more players, it was clunky. It was too long, and you need to see a lot
Yeah.
of cards, So and we had the idea to go in real time, and it
But
improved the game a lot.
if I may add, something that we can say is even if it's real time and there is bonus points if you finish first, the flow of the game is not continuous. You can play fast, but you can pause, relax, just watch what the other players are doing, and when you see what the other players are discarding, so it opens new options for you. So you can start to play quickly. So it's in real time, but the flow of the game
Oops.
change over the game.
Yeah. So it's not a race per se.
Okay. So then how does it sorry if I can actually get my cursor to move right. There we go.
Yeah. The image is stuck. Okay.
Just trying to get to a good picture of. There we go. Yeah, so this is a small box game.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's 1999, 95 on there. How long has this game been in the works?
Well, we started. In fact, it started in an airplane. I was with my son coming home from vacation, and I asked him what would be the best game. So we discussed a bit, and he really likes small games with a lot of free playability, like Fantasy Realms and Star Realms. So in the airplane, I started to draw cards on blank cards just to design a quick game, and we played in the airplane, and it was fun. So at the time, like Martin said, it was turn based, but a few weeks later it became real time. It was in spring of 2024 in March. So we showed the game to our playtesters, our friends, and fellow designers, and they liked the concept. So we balance it during the summer and to find the best interaction between the cards. You see on the bottom of the cards you have masteries and quest that looks for cards before and after the card, because it's like a story. So you resolve it from the beginning to the end. So during the summer, we decided to go to PAX Unplugged to pitch the game to publishers, and then we met Thunderworks. So Thunderworks, and they like the concept. So after that, when we signed the contract, uh, we had the opportunity to polish the game a bit. Uh, they asked us to add a sixth player to the game. So we created more cards and more classes, and we balance everything for a few months.
Nice. So I'm assuming that. Go
So
ahead.
we worked on it until the
Sorry.
so we worked on it like until the like the, for a year, for March 2024 to up to the end of February 2025, and then Thunderworks took over after that.
Nice. So I'm assuming the big piece as far as like the telling the story has to do with sort of both the looks like the class or the types of cards, and also looks like the different conditions on the bottom.
Yeah, but you can. All the cards have a level on the bottom, on the top left. So you need to create a sequence. If you want, as an example, to play a 6 on that picture, the red card. So you need all the previous number on the left of that card. So it's like the level of your character. You can see it that way.
Yeah.
So you need to create a sequence. And yes, you can tell at the end, you tell your story. In that example, oh, I began as a thief. I found a few familiars. I fought with a skeleton against a skeleton. You can tell the story of your hero that way, and after that, you count the points because of all the conditions that look for the other cards.
And of course, the storytelling part is fun, but we have players that, you know, someone who's not interested in telling the story is not obligated to do
Right.
so. We have players that they drop their cards, they count their points, and without telling the story. But we 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 find it interesting that, you know, it's a strategy game, but there is a storytelling aspect to it also, that you can read what's on the card, but you can also elaborate and you know, say jokes.
Right. Now, does everybody start with the
Bad
class, or
jokes.
do you have to draft that as well?
The start at the start of the game, you start with 2 classes and 6 adventure cards, and then at the start it's not in real time, so you look at your hand, you arrange the numbers in sequence to see if you have any holes and stuff, and then each player chooses a card to discard face down. So and when everyone is ready, everyone has discarded one of the 8 cards. We flip the cards. You can discard a class card or an adventure card to start the game, and then when we reveal the discarded card, and then the simultaneous play starts, you know, and then you can draw. So it's a draw and discard game. So you can draw from either the class deck or the adventure deck, from your face up discard area, or from the face up discard areas of your neighbors left and right. So it's really, you you pick an 8 card, and then you discard down to 7. So always like that. So you can of course you can go through your discard, and um, it doesn't it doesn't increase the size of your discard, because your discard area has a maximum of 7 cards, you know. So you're watching left and right. Oh, that's interesting. You pick a card, you discard it, and discard another card. So it's why the game flows. It can go fast, but you don't want to go too fast, because if you go up to 7 cards in your discard, now you have a less less room. So yeah.
But that's great, because then there's also aspects of it where it's like you might draw a card and it's like, I got to keep this in my hand, because if I discard it, it's going to help my neighbors, because it may not be what I need, but it's definitely what they need.
Yeah, exactly. you really can take your time. It's why we say it's not a race. um uh, the element of one of the change that Thunderworks did is the added epilogue cards. So when you're finished, when you're satisfied with your hand, you like your sequence, it works. You flip your discard face down, and you take the first epilogue cards. It's a bonus card. Um, and then you wait for the other players to finish, and so the first player to end their quest line has a bigger bonus. So you can go really fast and take the big bonus, but you can also wait and tinker your end more slowly, and to go fetch more points with a lower epilogue cards. um, so I was going somewhere with this.
Yeah. Well, we think it's a great addition that Thunderworks
Yeah.
did because it creates some tension. If you don't have those epilogue cards that reward to fast play, but sometimes games can be longer because some players are just waiting for
Right.
the cards. So, but because you have those rewards, it creates a tension, and this is a thing I like. It's you always you always ask yourself, should I play faster to grab the better card, or maybe I'll wait because I think there will be something interesting in that discard pile because we don't seem to have the same strategy, my neighbor and I. So
Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny to hear that you guys had the game and then went to Thunderworks, because it does seem like it almost is like a very natural fit for that role player universe kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. It was a perfect fit. We have many of Thunderworks games. We like them, and it was it was our number one choice. The fit was really good, and we're really fortunate to work with them. So we think Keith Mateka, he saw it also when Marc-André showed the game. It was the reputation stars like this. The stars is the same as in role player.
Yeah.
All the other games. So he clearly saw the fit also.
yeah, and it's really nice to be part of that universe because after that you find characters that are in our game, but you can also find them in the other games. A few weeks ago, Thunderworks announced an expansion for Stone Pine Architects, and on the cover of the box you can see two heroes, and they are
Yep.
in Questline also. So
Nice.
that was really great to see.
I'm assuming these are the epilogue
Yeah.
cards,
And
considering they
and
say
and one.
epilogue on the bottom.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. At one point when they're uh, we were seeing the prototypes, well, not the prototypes, but during the development of the game, we see the 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 logos and stuff, like the logos of the small house at the top right corner of the wizard card, the village logo. And then we were together on a with my Marc-André and I on a trip on a weekend, and we're playing cartographers. And then we said, oh, this
Yep.
is the so we recognize the logo that we hadn't played a cartographer at that moment. And so the more games from Thunderworks we play, the more, we see that we recognize the little skull, undead skull, and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah,
really
I just opened Cartographer's Heroes a few hours ago. I bought it this afternoon, and in one of the cards, I found the Mind Flayers that are in
uh,
Questline 2.
Yeah.
So that's it's like
Yeah.
Easter eggs.
Now I have a question. So I didn't see it as much on the thief card that was up earlier, but looking at the wizard card here, where it kind of like the wizard card gives you bonuses for each different type of tag in your quest line. So does the class cards do most of them technically have like a kind of start setting your strategy for your quest line?
Yeah, exactly. Your quest line starts with one or usually one, but sometimes more class cards, and they all have a quest or a specific ability, a special ability that lean your game or quest line
Gives you
towards
something to
something.
drive towards.
The first thing you do when you yeah, so the first thing you do when you have your 8 starting cards, you have 2 classes and the 6 other cards, is you look at your classes and you look at the other cards in your hand. So you see the holes in your sequence, but you also see which adventure cards fit with my 2 classes, which classes should I keep. Sometimes you keep both for a few for a moment, for so yeah, the class, they send you on, but
Yeah,
it happens sometimes that you've been you play for like or 10 minutes, and then you switch class because you find one that, oh, that is just strictly better for my
yeah.
cards. It's not the same thing, but
You have to be opportunistic because yes, sometimes you choose your class from the beginning and then you try to make the best story for that class. But sometimes the other players they give you great cards, let's say for a mage. So there is a lot of classes that are related to magic. So you can switch if you see that your neighbors give you cards that way. So it's still possible. There is some classes that maybe are specialized, like the druid as an example, who likes beasts. But there are some classes that are more generic, like the barbarian, that just have an advantage in fights. So you have a lot of different paths to develop that class.
Nice. Um, It's really funny because I was literally earlier today, I had a discussion with somebody at work and they were talking about like they're not a big board gamer, and we were talking about another friend coworker that is into like really heavy board games, and he was talking about like the ones I want to play is just too many rules and too complicated and difficult. I was like, I like simple stuff, and it's really funny that this seems to be like that, very much up that alley of like, here's the box, and like, boom, you can just sit down and start playing.
yeah. Oh, for
Yeah,
for some player, the first game, oh, I'm not sure. It can take a game like
Yeah,
10 minutes. It's fast, but then after you get the feel of it, no, it's pretty easy.
yeah. I think you can grasp the concept quite quickly. I had a friend who played his first game and it found it difficult to understand and to all the interaction. So he just focused on creating the sequence of numbers. It was his first 10-minute game, and in the second game he beat me. He owed one of the designers. So once you have played it once, you get the concept and you can start to create really strong
nice.
stories.
Now,
Yeah.
what is the Solstice expansion, mini expansion here?
It's 6 new classes because we had created more classes, and but we didn't want too many classes in the
Yeah,
in
those classes have different rules, maybe more complex rules.
yeah.
As an example, you have the warlord, who he prefers to have he orient your game to have multiple classes, so it may be more complex in the first game. So he's placed in the mini expansion.
Awesome.
but it doesn't add. So it's just 6 classes. So it's not really. If you understand the game, you play the game. It's not something that adds a lot of rules to the game.
It's just more.
6 new classes to create more stories.
It's just something to add in when you've played the base game enough. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of this, and you want just that little bit of extra variety.
Yeah.
Okay. And like he says on here, it says 15 to 30 minutes. I know a lot of times in board games that seems to be exaggerated, but from the description you're giving us, that seems to be pretty spot on, if not a little bit overestimating.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see 30 minutes because it's only 15 minutes.
That's the
on
learning
game.
game.
Sometimes
30.
Yeah, I guess the first game it can go
Yeah.
to up to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, this is pre-ordering right now. Looks like it says pre-orders are shipping before August 2026. Or if you're going to Gen Con, you can actually order it now and pick it up at Gen Con. So you don't have to worry about, Philip, you don't have to worry about running through the dealer hall on day one or when are they going to sell out. You can just buy it.
Exactly.
You can just buy it, and then you can go run to the other booths that you have to run to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll be there to sign your copy if you want.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we'll be
It
there.
would be our first time in Gen Con.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I completely forgot to ask how y'all got started in gaming in general.
Oh well, gaming. We started really young with game like Risk, HeroQuest, Magic the Gathering. Later, we started to play Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and we played a lot. We played too much of the Heroes of Might and Magic series, DC, and Blizzard titles like Diablo and Warcraft. So it had a bit of influence on us as designer. This is why it was a good fit also for the Eulus universe.
Right.
And we have there is a third brother also, middle bro, because I'm the youngest and Mark is the eldest.
Gotcha.
So we were always playing, when we were young, and creating. Marc-André was as the eldest. He had the 2 playtesters in the house. His 2 youngest brothers. So we're playing on the Risk map with custom factions.
Okay.
Basically, you had to turn to gaming, or else you would have just killed
Really
each
nice.
other. That your parents needed something to keep you all
Yeah.
occupied.
Yeah, exactly. At one point, they bought us a computer.
Oh no!
And
then you get into arguing about whose turn it is
but
for the computer.
yeah, but Heroes of Might and Magic, you can play. The 3 of us could play on Otzi.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we had that with. We had that. There was a game like that that we played on my Windows 3.1 machine called Tank Wars, which was basically Worms, but you could set like it only you only needed 4 keys because it was like
I played
like left angle like left and right and then power up and down. So like you could play like 4 people on one keyboard at a time. It was just like everybody pick, like when you started up the game, it was like, okay, player 1, pick your keys. And then like,
Yeah.
Oh yes, I see images. I think I remember the sounds also
yeah.
of the game. Yeah, we played Worms too.
Yeah. With Warhammer names for little ones.
Yep.
Oh God, I want to see that as a crossover now, Chris. I want to see.
You want a Worms quest line now?
Captain Titus as a worm.
Oh, you're talking. Sorry, you're doing 40K and and worms. Oh God. I have to talk to Manic Games with that Worms board game they've got. I'm sure somebody's done that. It's the internet.
A worm version of a Tyrannid.
Yeah.
It
I'm
exists.
sure if you went on the just search, I mean, if Rule 42 exists, then there needs to be the what is it? Rule 40 what's the non-porn version of Rule 42? Is that just Rule 41?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't.
This is gonna be on my
All this
search
time I
history.
forgot to actually finish scrolling down.
No. 41 is repeating something over and over again doesn't make it funny.
Oof! Don't tell me that. All right. So, like we said, you can pre-order this now on Thunderworks Games website, but just like all, I'm imagining you'd also be able to get this through wherever you're buying games, your friendly local board game store, or online and through other places as well. You just probably won't get it in August. If you,
No, it should arrive in August. It's supposed to ship towards the end of July.
well, I meant like if you buy it other places. Like I'm assuming like it's probably going to take more time to filter through distributors and such versus buying on Thunderworks. So like if
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, you're probably right. But yeah, we'll see.
it'll be in the
Not sure.
fall, whether it's August or well, I guess that's technically still summer. Never mind. End of the summer, you'll have it. But most likely the best place that you want to do it is or get it is because also I think buying on the Thunderworks, just based on what I'm seeing on here, you're getting the Solstice expansion for free if you do the pre-order through their website, whereas it looks like it's normally a separate product you have to get.
I think if you can buy it as a separate product, but if you buy just the base game, you get the product
Right.
for free. So
Philip, there's a cat.
Yeah, if you buy it from the Thunderworks website.
Yeah.
Philip, there's a cat. There's a cat.
Yeah. Chris is just gonna buy the expansion at this point. Right? That's all he's doing.
It looks like a scout, conjurer, warlord, fighter,
Yeah,
rogue,
the
and
Crusader is
what was that?
the Crusader is a toad. Is really nice. One of the character is a toad. Is really nice.
Mm.
in the base game.
In the
Yeah,
base game.
it's in the base
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Maybe I have it right now.
Oh wow, that's a tiny box too. I thought this was going to be. I was thinking this was like, cartographer sized, or the Stone Spire architects like you were talking about. But no, this is like literally deck of cards sized.
That's yeah, man. That's
Yeah, it's the same box as Fliptoon.
Hmm.
Toon.
Yeah. So it's a little smaller than cartographers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was originally thinking that size. But yeah, I guess if you're aiming for that Star Realms kind of gameplay or that vibe, it's definitely got the box size down pat. Awesome. Now I gotta.
Yeah.
All right, Philip,
Yeah.
we have to apparently go to Gen Con because he says nothing.
gotta find vacation days to go to Gen Con.
I know, that's fair. Not this year. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show and talking to us about Questline. If people want to follow what you're up to or anything else involving quest line, where's the best place for them to follow on social media?
Well, of course, the all the Thunderworks media accounts, and we've created an Instagram account called Jeux Lavoie. It's Jeux Lavoie, Lavoie. It's it's like Jeux is Lavoie is games in French.
Yeah.
We have posted like one pictures of us, one picture of
Nice.
us.
Well, I discovered Instagram and TikTok 3 weeks ago, so
Yeah.
I'm not really.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's it.
Je la vois in French, and we assume maybe like at Gen Con we'll post pictures. We don't know. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, Philip, I think it's time for that beautiful bee music.
And that has been our show, everyone. We want to thank our guests, Mark and Martin, for hanging out with us and talking about this this amazing looking game. We're gonna have to pick that up eventually and throw it on a table. Folks, if you like what you see, you got to check us out, boardsandswords.com. And it's got the links to our streaming channels and our schedule. Plus, it also has the links to our Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/boardsandswords, boardsandswords.com/Patreon. They'll both get you to the same place. You can sign up, help support the show, and get some cool behind-the-scenes stuff that Chris and I work on every once in a while. Also, Chris makes dad jokes of your favorite games.
Yep.
And
Sometimes.
they're so bad, they're good.
Yep. All right, that wraps us up this week. Remember, we record every other Monday. Boardsandswords.com/live has the schedule. I update it anytime there's a change. You can send us feedback. Let us know who we need to have on the show next. I just think of like, I just feel like the epic rap battles, like, who's next? Who wins? You decide. But email us feedback@boardsandswords.com, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at boards_swords. And like Philip said, you can see everything we're up to, boardsandswords.com, like the Patreon. Check it out. Help to support the show. And we'll be back. We're not going to be back in 2 weeks. It's actually going to be more like 3. Although if you're listening to this podcast, it doesn't matter. We're going to be on vacay. And we've recorded stuff in advance. So don't worry about it. I don't know what we're doing after that, because that's after vacay. And I'm going to be sipping margaritas or something. So in the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and this one has a quest line to fill out. It's over. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for all the technical difficulties in the beginning, especially when they're my fault.
Oh, no problem. And
It's
so,
our first experience
Oh, wow.
yes,
streaming, so
are we still live?
Yeah, we are
We
still
are,
we're
we
still
are still live.
we are still live for the moment.
I found you. I followed you on Instagram.
Yay!
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you think at that point people notice that we are not English speaking?
No, you hide it so well.
No, okay, nice.
Oh, it's okay. We
Yeah.
literally had an episode like 2 months ago where one of the guests did not speak any English, and so like his friend was like translating. So like I just have to pause and wait,
Yeah.
and just like wait for him to speak it, and then his friend would translate it. So I mean,
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, I think I saw it too.
Yeah,
so I mean,
yeah,
I like talking to people not from America because I like hearing about things that like gaming in other places. Like I'm so used to my realm and what gaming is like here, so I always like hearing other people's experiences to know kind of what gaming is like there.
Yeah, I think in Quebec, I mean, or in Canada, it's pretty similar to the US. Of course,
Fair.
where there are big influence from the US. So yeah, I think it was it must have been pretty similar. I think.
Probably, but still, it's like I said, you need different perspectives are always cool. But
Yeah, no, for sure.
But unfortunately, I think Philip. It has been a hell of a day, so I'm probably not going to stick around and do any bonus bits recording. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream. Thanks everybody for